responsibilities. So, hi, well, welcome. First of all, I wanted to take just 5 seconds before speaking about Dusk to say that I am actually I'm a fan of Wimbo. I think that the guys at Beam, they are doing a great job. I think that they are, they are contributing to the privacy space, which it's really one that we need to mature. So I'm very glad that you were here. I'm very honored that we are sharing the stage, and I wanted to actually trigger another round of applause for you. So the Dusk Network. Dusk is confidentiality-driven infrastructure solving blockchains, unanswered chat. Scratch that. Dusk is a network. Thank you. So when I'm talking about a network, what is that I'm actually talking about? Because whenever we are speaking about decentralization, whenever we are speaking about permissionless blockchain, we always toss around the word network. But what is it? What should a network do in order to qualify to be a network? And this is where I have seen many of the current proposition in the decentralized market failing to provide an answer to. A little over a year ago, I used to have a company called Web3 Ventures, and we used to decentralize centralized businesses. Organizations would come to us, would ask us to just run the hype somehow, and to help them decentralize their business model. And one of the things that we have been asked to do a lot of times was to decentralize a certain particular network. And we started to look around. I'm an engineer. I have 20 years of experience as an engineer. I started my career in air traffic control system. I have been working for many years at TomTom, the navigation platform. I was one of the directors of the research and developments there. I rolled out, the traffic service that right now is in, I think, 250 million of different cars. And as an engineer, I always try to never reinvent the wheel. So when anybody asks me, hey, can we decentralize our network? I would always look around and see if there was something that I could reuse. And there wasn't anything a year ago. And you know why? Because a network needs to have two things. It needs to make transactors able to do unidirectional atomic transfer of value. And this is where a lot of blockchains out there shine. But it also needs to grant the possibility of doing bidirectional exchange of values. And there aren't really many blockchains out there that grant that. You can have a transaction, you can have a confidential transaction, meaning transacting between two different parties, transacting certain value, transferring a value to somebody else. But how do you actually implement in a decentralized manner an exchange of value? Ethereum comes to mind. Smart contracts are gives these particular capabilities. Now the problem with smart contracts, the problem with any network out there, is the fact that there is also a third characteristic that they need to be able to render and provide. The capability of doing continuous exchanges of value. Time unbound exchanges of value. Streaming, conferences, phone calls, audio-visual conferencing tools, they are all network. So Dusk is a network. It has been conceived as a network, and it is currently being developed as a network that has these three different features. The capability of doing unidirectional atomic transfer of value in a confidential manner, bidirectional exchange of values in a confidential manner, and time unbound exchange of data in a confidential manner. Of course, as a network, then you are doing something that is sort of a layer one, right? And you need to be able to shape it up around a certain particular use case that is probably the most profitable for you. So what can you do when you have a network? Well, one of the things that come to mind, you can do exchanges of value, like I said, so bidirectional atomic transfer of value. If you can do that in a decentralized way. If you do it in a decentralized way, in a confidential manner, and if you can do it granting a certain particular kind of restrictions among transactors without resorting to a third party, you have the perfect tool for doing security tokens, meaning exchange of value in a regulated market. Now, how do we do that? How do we provide the capability of being a network? Well, and how do we enter a regulated market? We developed Dusk as a multi-layered protocol. I'm not going to get too much into the details of what all the different layers do, but we take confidentiality very seriously, as regulators do. Because if you are touching a wallet that has got $100 million worth of value, then suddenly if you are moving this value on an exchange, then the price of that particular asset class crashes. Because everybody psychologically think, oh my God, 100 million is moved to an exchange, somebody's gonna dump. I need to be faster than him, I need to sell my bags. This is price manipulation, which is one of the things that every regulators in the world forbids. So together with the confidentiality, you need to be able to restrict transactions among different transactors that have been pre-approved. In order to do that and maintain confidentiality without a mediator involved, you need to render your network able to grant these restrictions on-chain, which is the reason why we use zero-knowledge cryptography in order for third-party issuers of security tokens to commit the outcome of a certain KYC, AML pre-processing on top of the Dusk network. And then you need to remove actors according to a predetermined set of rules. Like, for example, they need to re-engage with the KYC, AML procedure, or there are other kind of rules. And in that particular case, you need to provide a way to do a distributed or decentralized zero-knowledge smart contract. So this is what Dusk Network does. In order to do that, then we had to create our own consensus mechanism, because whenever you're talking to a regulator, you always need to remember that the regulator is a policymaker. And the policymaker doesn't make policies only for the financial realm, it does it also for the environmental context. So whenever you're talking about proof of work to a regulator, you need to have a very good explanation of why Bitcoin is currently using 5% of the energy production of an entire year. So we need to move away from proof of work in order to be, to appeal to regulators. But we couldn't use proof of stake, because proof of stake, you need to have everything in the open. You need to have your stake in the open in order to counter your civil attack. So we had to come up with a different way, with a different consensus mechanism that we call proof of blind bid, which is the colloquial name. The academic name is segregated Byzantine agreement, that uses non-interactive sortition based on zero knowledge. Fortunately, somebody explained better than me about Pedersen commitment, and which are at the very basis of bulletproof. Bulletproof transactions are range-proof, but it is also known that with bulletproof, you can actually prove any kind of algorithmic, any kind of arithmetic circuit, any kind of algebraic statement. And that is what we use in order to create proof of blind bid. It works like this. You make a blind bid, you bid a certain amount of dusk. This bid gives you a probabilistic edge to obtain a score, a public score, that you can propagate together with the proposal of a block. The highest score wins every round. As soon as it gets to a set of different kind of nodes called provisioners that perform validation and voting on top of it. Now, the interesting part is the fact that the initial bid, the blind bid, is kept blind. And the block is propagated together with a score that doesn't really bear any significance. But this score is as higher as, as much higher is the bid that you've been committing to the network. So this is, in a nutshell, the proof of blind bid. We also use an anonymous gossip network that inherits from garlic rooting, so that we also screen the IP address. So we obfuscate the IP address of all the different nodes inside of the network, so that it is very difficult to do analysis on top of in order to de-anonymize the bits. And we also have this is a little bit of a strategic technology that we are doing on top of the Dusk Network. We also provide the capability of doing time unbound exchange of value using something which we call SDS, the secure tunnel switching technique. I'm not going to get into details about SDS, because our primary and main focus is about STOs, and my co-founder Jelle Paul will speak a little more about the XST standard, which we use to allow third party to issue inexpensively security tokens on top of the Dusk Network. Briefly, how we enable compliance is by keeping the accountability of all the different regulatory process with the third-party issuer of security token. They are responsible to run the KYC, run the AML together with a KYC and AML vendor, which normally is centralized. And the interesting bit is the fact that as soon as the processing commences and somebody is allowed to transact, then his identity is committed inside of the Dusk Network. And all the transactors that have been committed inside of a zero knowledge data store, they are allowed to transact with each other. It is the entire network that oversees that different transactors have been allowed to transact. There is no need for a mediator. There is no need of a proxy or of a validator or anything that is off-chain and is overseeing this token trading restriction. prerequisite. So I have been briefly mentioning what is our main purpose, main focus, which is to become the platform of choice for something that we do believe is going to take the market by storm, which is security tokenization. You can also use Dusk for unidirectional transfer of value, so the normal payment processing, and in the future also for communication, safe and secure communication paid for with Dusk. And thank you. We are going. The token, the Dusk token, is going to become fully liquid in December. We are running a random draw on Bitfinex. At this particular point in time, Dusk is going to be listed on Bitfinex. In December, you are absolutely invited to ask me questions as soon as I will be off the stage and the other will be done with his presentation, and join the random draw. Thank you very much.